What is up, everybody? Please excuse the mess while I'm filming, but we have a ton going on at the store right now. It's a bit of a mess. That is because even though we do primarily saltwater aquarium maintenance and service, we also have a saltwater quarantine fish setup. So any fish that gets sold out of here has been fully quarantined. So we're really proud of that. And we are also beginning, which I'm really excited about, quarantining corals and aquaculture and corals in this facility as well. So it's just a ton of things, a ton of work. But that is not why you guys clicked on this video. You clicked on this video to see the saltwater aquarium with the canister filter. So I'm gonna take you guys along with me today on a ride to one of our service customers who's had a saltwater aquarium running on a canister filter for 3 years now. So while we waiting, let's get into it. So here we are at the aquarium and everything looks really, really good. We've been serving this aquarium for, I think, going on 2 years now. You can see it's got some really nice green pallies. Those are in here originally. That blastoid looks a little bit messed up, but that's only because it was stung by an anemone. The hammer coral looks great. The polyp extension is really nice on that, so that's doing well, so that's good to see. This anemone is creating a bit of a problem in here because it's reaching over and stinging those zoas. So we're gonna have to go ahead and move those zoas to a new spot. I'm thinking probably over here somewhere. Maybe down low, I'm not sure, but definitely got to get away from those anemones. Those anemones started as just one, and now they split to 3, so they're becoming a bit of an issue. We got some pulsing xenia, underrated coral. I love that thing. A couple of heads of mushrooms back there. And then we just added this really nice hairy mushroom in the tank last visit. As far as lighting go, that's probably the most critical thing on this tank. We have 2 AI prime lights on here that are working great, perfect for this size tank. And I'm just noticing now the top of the water looks pretty nasty here. This is probably the most common problem I see with canister filters is you don't have a lot of ways to filter out the broken down organics that tend to stay at the top of your tank. Now with your canister filter here, you have your return line, but it doesn't create enough pressure to break up all those organics that are over here on the top there. There's just not enough surface agitation. Instead of pulling from the top with an overflow system like you would have in most saltwater tanks, it pulls from the bottom here, which is definitely a problem. We got a nosy green spotted puffer checking us out, probably thinking he's gonna eat. This has to be probably my favorite fish. I just have a soft spot for them. As far as livestock go, we have that clownfish, that lesbian, that anemone. We have a blue hippo tang. We have a blood shrimp hiding under there. As I'm looking through this tank, I'm noticing there is a bit of aptasia that we're gonna have to probably take care of today. There's a flame angel darting in and out of there. But I think it's pretty obvious by looking at the corals, you definitely can be successful using a canister filter. I don't think that's up for debate at all. I mean, look at pulsing xenia, looks great. Pallies look great, but again, these are all easy corals. But you know, with that being said, all the coral in here are beginner entry-level corals. How do you not love the clownfish and anemone relationship? You can definitely see the signs of a mature tank when you look at the sand bed, and you can start to see the gas start building up in the sand bed. That's why it's so important to gravel vac every so often. I mean, this tank is pretty mature, and like I said, it's really dialed in. And just by looking at the corals, you can see that, and it's pretty much its own little ecosystem now, and it's kind of just running on its own. And even though these zoas got hit by that anemone, I have no doubt in my mind that they'll make a full recovery. All right, so here's the canister filter. Let's go ahead and take this out. And every time we're here, when we do a service, we make sure to take it out and clean it real good. So it's just your standard canister filter. It's got all your filtration sponge and biomedia in here. By the looks of it, this is actually not that dirty. That's because we do change it every 2 weeks. And the aquarium is relatively well maintained for it. It's not overfed. There's not a ton of fish in there. Probably, I would say, the appropriate amount of fish. So this shouldn't be too dirty. And it is good practice if you are going to run a canister filter on a reef aquarium to do regular maintenance for sure on your canister filter, because if you do not, that's a lot of broken down organic material that will leach into your aquarium and cause big time algae issues. Now let's take a look at some of the filtration media that is in a canister filter. So you have the sponges, which are really great at getting small particulates out. Also, they're a great base for bacteria to colonize on, which is really great for your saltwater aquarium when breaking down your organics in your saltwater aquarium. Again, you have more filter pads in here. I believe some of these are like phosphate pads, but they don't really do much. There's GFO, and then there's carbon as well. So the carbon is to keep your water clear and remove any toxins. GFOs to control phosphate. And then you have some other pads right here. So again, getting some more of those particulates out of the water. And then you have some biomedia. So what this is basically used for is bacteria colonizes in these little porous areas and lives there, which adds to the biofiltration of the aquarium. And the last one, you have some more sponge media. So tons of sponge media, ton of areas for bacteria to kind of colonize, which is really good. Plus they're in the aquarium on the rock and stuff. So real quick, before we continue, let's go ahead and take a look at an aquarium that has your traditional sump style filtration system. And let's just kind of go over that real quick, and let's compare it to what we just went through with the canister filter. So here's the sump style filtration that you'll see in most saltwater aquariums. So the water overflows into here. It goes through some type of media, whether that be filter socks or filter media. You can see how dirty that is. So it works really extremely well. There's a lot of broken down organics in there. Then this empty space right here is usually used for some type of macroalgae. So you have a light above there and it grows the algae, and the algae, when it grows, it consumes nitrates and phosphates, helping clean your tank. Then you have a protein skimmer here that helps take out any broken down proteins or organics out of the aquarium. Also helps oxygenate the water. And then lastly, you have a little sponge right here that helps prevent the micro bubbles from going back into your display that is created from the protein skimmer, and help get out any other particulates before they go back into the main display tank. One of the reasons why I love sumps, and I think they're far superior to canister filters, is because you have plenty of room down here to add little extras like dosing equipment, whether you're dosing calcium, alkalinity, or whatever. You have sensors to be able to add, so when the water gets low, it automatically will top off with fresh water, keeping your aquarium and the salinity more balanced. So you have room to put those things instead of having to manually do a lot of that. Now, one of the issues I have with canister filters is usually the nitrates are really high and the phosphates are really high. And I just did the test on this tank and they are very high. So we're here every 2 weeks, and every 2 weeks we have to do at least a 40% water change. So it's something to consider. So I'll go ahead and end with saying this. Yes, you can have a successful reef aquarium using a canister filter. Is it ideal? Not really. There are better ways to do it. But if you're just starting out and you're just kind of dabbling into the saltwater aquarium world and you want to try a couple of corals, there's nothing wrong with doing a canister filter. Now, I understand for people that saltwater filtration can be a bit intimidating and canister filters are relatively straightforward. But I think in the long term, you really want to take the hobby to the next level. Having a sump filtration or an all-in-one tank is the best way to go. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming along with me today. I'll see you on the next one.